What is up? What is up, everybody? It's a Friday night. It's 9 o'clock. Sit back, relax, kick open a cold beer, pour a stiff drink, roll yourself a green one, whatever it is. Sit back and relax for another hour of shooting the shit uncensored, baby. It's me, the bald, the beard, the beautiful Piers Austin. And tonight I'm joined by a very special guest, a good friend of mine, Mr. Rose, who is the PWA commentator, call man. Man, he does a lot of work for PWA. He's a podcaster himself, radio personality. But before I bring him out, I just want to take a quick pause just to thank some of our sponsors. First up is A-Rock Designs. A-Rock Designs is that company you see all over the wrestling Facebook groups and Facebook pages. They make custom wrestling cups, hoodies, keychains, t-shirts, tumblers, you name it, they make it. They made me, as everyone knows, my CM Punk tumbler, which I absolutely love, and they're going to be sending me out a Shooting the Shit uncensored one soon, which I can't wait to get. So make sure to hit them up on Facebook. They've got a great product and an absolutely great price range and great customer service. Also is Signal Studios. Signal Studios is that recording studio based here in Sydney, Australia. If you're a local musician, you need a place to rehearse, a place to jam, a place to get creative. There is no more of a comfortable place that you could be in to get your creative juices flowing than Signal Studios. You can find them in West Ryde. Hit up my boy Rafi Tomasian. Or if you're an independent professional wrestler, you need a new entrance song, a new bit of new music to make you come out to the ring cooler, doper, flyer, whatever cool words that the kids are saying today. My boy Rafi can hook it up. He can mix, master, produce that bitch and send it out anywhere in the world. So make sure you check out Signal Studios, guys. But guys, I can see the chat is already here. We got Mr. Adam Popperjack. Hello, handsome sirs. Knuckles, he's saying good morning. What up, brother? Joel Southgate in. Guys, I'm going to bring him out. Rose, thanks for joining me tonight, man. It's good to see you again, bud. You're on mute, Rose.
Damn it. I did that so people wouldn't hear me slurping my Red Bull. What a complete unprofessional. I should never be on camera or behind a mic, I don't think. But Piers, it is so good to see you, brother. Thank you for having me back on the show. It's good to see you smiling. We are on day 2 of Puppy Patrol in our house. We got a brand new puppy named Freddie, and he is wild. Everything in the world is new, and he can't stop running around. So it's nice to have an hour off from the new puppy and hang out and talk some wrestling with you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Freddie, eh? So like Freddie Mercury, you were saying?
No, it's actually named after Freddie Prinze Jr., the writer for WWE and former actor. No, you're 100% right. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Queen is a very important band to my partner Zoe and I, and she decided the name Freddie, and I 100% support her in that decision. And we're very lucky so far. He's already kind of toilet trained, so he knows to go wheeze outside. So I think we're onto a gem. He's come into puppydom quite well.
Yeah. Have you sat down and with the puppy and watched wrestling with him yet? Has he understand and grasped that world?
No, I did get him for a 2 count last night and he kicked out, but I don't think he knew what he was doing at the time. But no, we haven't watched any wrestling together yet. It's only been 2 days. So I think we'll probably watch some this upcoming week. And then the NRL season starts and he has to learn to watch and support his beloved Bulldogs, which he is a part of because he's a little Bulldog. So it's exciting times ahead.
That's it, man. Talking about exciting times ahead, man, this upcoming PWA card, it started out with a kiss. This is looking like it's going to be a pretty action-packed card, dude.
Yeah, I mean, man, what a wild month it's been, right? Like we had the year that was. I don't think we need to talk anymore about what 2020 was, but we had that show at the Factory Theatre last month, and, the biggest feeling I got before that show was looking around at all the seats and all the athletes and everyone getting ready to do a live show. And I thought to myself, man, we used to do this every month and not blink an eye. Like this was just Max Watts packed out like this every month. It's just what we did at PWA. And then we had a year where we had to think on our feet. And I'm proud of the year and what we did. But coming back to that show, it was amazing. It was such an incredible energy to be able to do that in front of a crowd again. And this is the second show from being back on the new platform of Fight TV, which has been an amazing success. They're incredible, Fight TV. So the hype is real.
I mean, getting on Fight TV is a massive platform,
Yeah,
and that's a massive part of success. You know, I know you guys had a little bit of stuff on independent wrestling TV. I think you guys still have some stuff on there as well, and you know, even that platform as well. Which, you know, the independent wrestling over in the States, the UK, Japan as well, has been hot. You know, pre-COVID. And even now it's starting to sort of come back up with a lot of sort of smaller reduced shows. And I think indie wrestling, those fans are hardcore and they want to get as much as they can and as much different stuff as well. And I think that the PWA product is that something different from like a Game Changer Wrestling or like a CZW or a Ring of Honor or, you know, that sort of product. And that's where I think like it's going to hit a much more broader audience as well worldwide.
100%. Before I respond to that, I just want to give a shout out to Hug Knuckles TV, who's commented, Mandy Rose looking different. So yes, I am a slightly different looking Mandy Rose. Beautiful. Thank you, Hug Knuckles. Yeah, I think the big thing that even amazed us with the Fight TV stuff, like we were excited when Fight TV, you know, got announced, and you know, I saw it with the rest of you guys on that video and went, "Oh my god, that's amazing!" And like you said, there's just so many like-minded fans of wrestling on that site already looking at great content that's already on Fight TV. For us, it's always been about the access of people who want to see what we have to do as well, because we know that there's a huge amount of wrestling fans around the world who still have no idea who PWA are. And it's not their fault. It's because they have to look. They have to find the right place to get it. And Fight TV is a great example of, hey, here's an Australian tinge on wrestling. Here's our culture mixed into something you love. Give it a go. You might like it. And they watch it and go, holy shit, I had no idea this was happening in Australia. Bang, they're part of the movement. So Fight TV is a huge thing, not just for PWA to grow as a company, but just getting the word of Australian wrestling out to more people internationally who are hungry, like you said, for content.
Yeah,
it's the best.
And that's the thing, man. Like, I'm a huge indie fan, and like I love finding like weird, different, intricate stuff, different wrestling promotions. Like, and you really have to go looking for it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's where it is now. And I think where you see guys like, you know, Jonah Rock, you know, Bronson, you know, Reed now in WWE, NXT, people like to find out backgrounds of people like, you know, Billy Kay, you know, Peyton Royce, the Iconics. Where did you know what I mean? Like, I think fans are now, they have a lot more access at their fingertips where they're now researching more about like, you know, the stars that they're seeing on this big platform and where they came from and what was a PWWA championship, and going and, you know, finding that. And you know,
yeah, I think what they're doing is seeing the mainstream culture of something like NXT and WWE, and they're seeing all those superstars you talked about, and they're starting to put two and two together and go, wait, she's from Australia and he's from Australia and she's from New Zealand and wait, hang on, what's going on in Australia? So there's this. It happens I see it in other cultures. I'm a huge skateboarding fan. And for a while there, all these Hawaiian dudes started being amazing at skateboarding. And the whole industry started going, what's going on in Hawaii? And everyone started looking towards, and then it shifted. And suddenly Japan, all these incredible skateboarders. And then Australia had their time. So I feel like, that cusp of it is, we're riding that right now, baby, because we're telling our story to a whole bunch of new people in an introductory way. And you could probably, if you watched the last show, you could probably feel that out of Chris and I, that we were, it felt like a beginning of a conversation. So we had to really start and let you know, everyone that's coming out, this is Jessica Troy, and here's why she's great. You'll see, but here is why as she enters the ring. And that was an important part of it for us.
Yeah, I mean, you know, dude, I was at the last show, and I brought a friend of mine who, you know, hasn't, you know, really been to a wrestling event or, you know, catches up with wrestling. Not that he's not a fan, he just doesn't watch it. And he, at the whole show, was on the edge of his seat. Like, you know, when the first match came out, you know, with Jessica Troy versus Robbie Eagles, he was like, no fucking way. And like, just the whole match, he was popping, bro. Like he was complete, like, hook, line, and fucking sinker, bro, from like the first match. And dude, he was telling me, he's like, bro, I got to go to the next one, and like, fuck, let's just like, I want to go to as many of these as I can. And he's like telling now other mates going, we got to, like, all the boys, we got to go to this.
They drank the Kool-Aid, right? I met your mate, and he's like, he was awesome,
Chris.
and he was really open about the fact that, you know, I'm not a fan, but that was sick, and that is also a huge important part of it for us, because we know there's fans out there that don't even realize they're fans yet. Do you know what I mean? That's why we want these people that have never watched wrestling to come, because they do exactly what your mate Chris did, which was, whoa, this is like a rock show. This is rock and roll with violence. I love it. I'm in.
And that's the thing. Like, even I'm just gonna say, Kev Tenacity says, I feel like the Australian wrestling scene is one of the hottest out there at the moment. It really is. You know, there's good promotions and there's subpar promotions, and I'm not going to say which ones are which or anything like that. But you know, it's like anywhere. It's like in the US, there's good promotions and there's below good promotions, and you're going to find that anywhere in every profession. Would you agree, Rose?
Oh yeah, I mean, I come from the music world, and that's the same thing. There's great DJs, and there's good DJs, and there's not so good DJs, and all of them can succeed in the same bubble, and all do have great careers out of it. But it is subjective. You know, some of the DJs that I didn't necessarily like, thousands of people would go and see them and love them. So it's not up to what I think, really. It's up to what works for the individual. And I think the thing I love about PWA is that we're so how do I describe this? We're so sure of who we are as an entity, PWA. Like, we know our branding, we know what our market is, we know what we do well, and we don't really worry about any kind of outside influence or any doubt. We just push forward, and you're always going to cop it if you're doing something. If you're rolling forwards, you're always going to cop that kind of skepticism, and I welcome it because it keeps us on our toes as a company. I think it all helps.
Do you think that can be perceived as like from other people, like other promotions, as arrogance, having that sort of confidence? And do you think it rubs other promotions the wrong way?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm not that heavily involved to kind of know how other promotions work. To me, PWA is kind of my world, and being the color guy, I just lock in to that. Like, I don't really watch any other indie wrestling or anything like that. I just focus on PWA. So any answer I'm going to give you is going to be biased towards PWA. But
sure.
I think in any industry, if you're excelling with that mindset of I'm number one, like the Wahlberg mindset of I'm the best and I know it and I'm going to go for it, then you're going to have people that are angry at that drive, right? And I guess if you're
100%.
succeeding, that just like accentuates it even more and even more. And yeah, maybe some people might perceive the way PW is as aggressive and in some ways arrogant, but to us, we're just doing what comes instinctually. We want to put on more shows. We want to do better, and the product.
You want to perform at that higher level.
Yeah, we're big dreams. Yeah, we're dreamers in PWA. We have massive dreams.
And that's the thing. Like, that's not taking away from the product itself. And you know, please don't think that question was any way to try and drum up any controversy around it. That was just something that was just because, like I said, when you have that mindset of being, we are going to be the best, we're going to step up every aspect of it. You know, haters come from everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, it's you know,
strangely, Wahlberg is a good example because he's a living entity of what PWA kind of is right now. He's a guy on the rise who's just confident and knows it, and will push and push, and that's always going to get detractors. But forward momentum is the key, I think, and I believe in the people that push PWA forward in a control aspect. I believe in them, and I believe in the company, so I'm willing to do my part.
Yeah, and I think,
just quickly before we move on, I'm sorry to interrupt you in your own show, but me and Hug Knuckles TV is really getting a relationship going on here, and he's asked me who's his favorite skateboarder. All right, this is maybe the only time I'll ever be able to talk on live media about something I so obsessively love in skateboarding. Probably my greatest skateboarder of all time is Mark Johnson. Mark Johnson was like the style king of skateboarding. So if anyone wants to see the best skateboarding in the world, MARC, Mark Johnson is like the best skateboarder of all time. Sorry, Piers, continue. I just had a fanboy moment.
No, absolutely, man. But and you mentioned someone like Matty Wahlberg, who definitely has that that drive and that mentality as a performer, and you definitely see that when he's in the ring, like the intensity that he brings out and the entertainment that he puts out. He is definitely one of those guys that is just destined for some great things. Like, you just see him, he's just a superstar.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I might see something slightly different when I see him, but that's just because of our history. But I can't deny his talent. We've clashed in many times, but there's no denying that. Yeah, he is one of the many. I mean, to me, again, I'm going to be biased, but I look around PWA and I see so many people like that. I just see so many people that are like, you have everything to be amazing in this industry, and you already are. That's what's crazy about it. You're killing it. So, like I've always said, it makes my job so easy as a commentator because everyone is so great. But Wahlberg's a great example.
Yeah, and I think as well, like, being able to call action, which is like unfired, like just going in the ring at all cylinders. And that last show, man, like I said, dude, my mate was marking the fuck out, and like every match from bell to bell, like he's like sitting there like slapping me, and I'm going, bro, what the fuck? Like, the ladder match, everything, bro. He was like fucking popping for that shit.
Yeah,
and to me, I was like, oh fuck, this is awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Like it makes you proud to see someone who doesn't know what you know about it loving it. I think that's always like a really proud moment when you bring someone, when you show them a movie or a song and someone's like, this is sick. It makes you feel like you've given something of yourself to them and they've accepted it, which is a great moment. I always love that stuff. But, the strength of that is that it just grows. It just keeps on growing the whole time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And it's definitely like, a rock show. You get that music. You know what I mean? Like, it's a really cool show to go to, and I think that's where it can appeal to people from like outside of the fan of the business to someone who is just like can let themselves just like let go in that moment and just look at that as entertainment and go, fuck yeah.
Yeah, and you want to say to your mate after that the cliche of like, oh, you think that's good, you wait till the next show. But it really is true this time because, I mean, that show was great. The main event was like one of the easily contender for match of the year, and the tag match was just, the whole thing was crazy. Like Jess and Robbie to start, like what the hell? So the whole thing was amazing. And then you look at this show and you're like, how? Like a Rumble, a title match a year in the making, Jess and Chev's, like, it's insane. And a tag match is probably going to make the internet explode. So it's crazy,
dude. Like like I loved the Robbie and Jessica Troy match, but like the ending of that match, I was so like, you know what I mean? Like I was disappointed in the ending of the match because it was like such an amazing match between two of the very best that it would have been cool to see a clean finish.
Would you say, Piers, that match left you wanting more?
Yes, it did.
Interesting.
Well, I'll sit here and mark out to myself.
No, it's a great point. That was 5 minutes away from being an absolute classic. But Chev's made her statement, and she wants that shot. And this one's going to be crazy because it's going to get violent. And this is like two sisters fighting. Like they know each other so well. It's going to be something special.
I'm really looking forward to seeing that. I think both performers are just, they're insane. Like when I first went to a PWA show, I got told from people saying the person you need to look out for is Jessica Troy. And like I was waiting, and when I saw her perform, I was just like, wow, like she is like hands above like just amazing what she does in the ring. Just very entertaining.
Jessica Troy, it's almost like folklore follows her wherever she goes. There's already, it's similar to the Madison Eagles type folklore that like you see is fully formed now. Like whenever Madison enters a room, there's so much respect for her, rightfully so. And you see it early in Jess. Like Jess is in her prime and killing it, and an amazing champion for PWA. But you see that folklore like people are going to talk about Jess for a very, very long time, and everyone in PWA knows it. And just the skill she has to tell a story in a ring, like, it's just amazing. What an athlete!
And and I think just her as a performer, like, as I said, my friend was sitting there. He was like seeing Robbie Eagles, Jessica Troy. He's like, wait, no, it's not going to be a guy versus a chick. What? Huh? Oh, okay. The guy's just going to smash her. And then, like, next thing you know, he was just like I said, just like so invested in it, because it was like when you can put on a good wrestling, like a fantastic wrestling match. It doesn't matter who the people are, if it's male or female. Good wrestling match is a good wrestling match.
Good wrestling. That's the best way to put it. That's what we're going for. Good wrestling.
And that's where he was. And he was like, like, I actually met Jess's mother that night as well. She came up and had a chat to me, and and just hearing some of like what Jess has done to get where she is, and hearing a little bit of that story, I was like, man, that's amazing. You know what I mean? Like, she's worked her ass off, and she's like I said, killing it right now.
Yeah, and I think something that maybe we don't talk about enough is because of the year that was, we've waited a long time for UG to return to defend that belt, and we're about to get it. But that entire time, Jessica held that PWA flag flying so strongly, without a fear, and just an absolute example of someone who you want to represent your company, and in such a difficult time. I mean, she's out Drew McIntyre, really. Like, she just been amazing. So I love Jess. I'm so proud of her.
Was there ever, like, obviously the thought going around that they were going to strip UG of the title, or was that never an option, do you think?
I would say no, that was never an option. I would say there would definitely be a chance that it would have been, the question would have been asked, but to the powers that be, but I don't think the powers that be would have ever considered it. It would have been a straight no. The title was too important to us, and we believed in a process that we felt a lot of other shows. So quickly, hey Kyle, how you doing, man? And enjoy your 21st tomorrow. That's amazing. But we felt as a company that we didn't need every single one of our shows to have that major title match. We felt that the PWWA title, the tag titles, we had divisions strong enough that could headline their own shows. And with the themes and different evolutions of storylines, we could feature different wrestlers in their events without having to just be the straight title match every time. And it turned out to be beautiful happenstance that we thought about the company that way, because then UG disappears for a year and we can continue doing more shows. So it's the best way to do it, because then you're not having to just always rely on that one title. You make them all worth something, and they can all be main events if the people are good enough, and everyone's good enough. Easy.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's, just whether it's a title on the line or not, it like I said, it's what happens in the ring. You know what I mean? Like the belt doesn't, the belt, I think there's performers that need to have a belt to help establish themselves, and there's others that establish the belt for what it is. You know what I mean? Like, make it more prestigious. It's like, the Miz, whenever he holds a title, he's like always says this is the most prestigious title, that really puts it over. That's obviously the performer putting over the championship, but a lot of times it's done to get over talent.
Yeah, and I think it should be a symbiotic relationship. It should be a teamwork. It shouldn't just be on the wrestler. It should be on the company as well. You've got to treat the belt with a modicum of respect, and you've got to treat your divisions with a modicum of respect. And I mean, look how fantastically WWE changed when they started taking the women's championship more seriously, and they called it a women's title, and they put it in the main event of WrestleMania, and here we are in a much better world with way more great wrestlers because of it. So it's got to be a hand in hand, and I respect the fact that PWA don't treat that belt lightly. If you want to lose it, you've got to lose it. You can't. We're not going to strip it. We're going to wait, and because of happenstance and the way the world was, we had to wait. But now, the sweet build up, Piers. It's been a year people have waited for Ricky to get his hands on UG, and we're going to get it. And it's surreal that we're going to get it, but the hype that we were able to build that because of, what the world threw at us. And I think that's a cool thing.
Oh, 100%. And I think a year build up for a match where like these guys haven't, touched or been able to like be in the same building, that sort of build up. And it's kind of like, you go back in time with the Taz and Sabu thing in ECW, where they built that feud up for a year where neither of them touched. And when it came time to, 1997, barely legal, then that match started, that whole place just erupted, and I think that's going to be that same feeling.
It's going to be huge. I mean, just the first time those two lock eyes, they won't even need to be in the same ring as each other, but the first moment we see both of them officially in the same room at the same time, and the crowd knows this is happening, that's going to be beautiful. And there's a lot of questions that I don't think people are asking right now about this match. We don't know what state Doug's in. We don't know if he's fit, if he's not fit. If he could be twice the size he was when he left. He could come back jacked, like Jinder Mahal style jacked. You know what I mean? Like we don't know. Well, Ugg's been in his cave. There's no Wi-Fi in there. So, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of challenge. But we know what Ricky's going to look like. He wrestled like last week. The man never stops. So,
yeah. I saw Ugg wrestle last month, actually.
Oh, okay. No,
for Deathmatch Down Under. Yeah, well, I think it was last month or the month before. So it was January, I believe.
I have PWA horse blinders on. I don't see anything out.
Bro, you need to check out Deathmatch Down Under, dude.
I've heard great things.
They are amazing, dude. Like it's bringing deathmatch wrestling to Australia and bringing pretty much like the smorgasbord of professional wrestling, like a little bit of deathmatch wrestling, intergender wrestling, heavyweight wrestling, cruiserweights, good, strong characters. I think they're going to be definitely one of those promotions that are just, going to be like another one, just like PWA, man, just a good company in the industry where the guys can work.
Yeah, and something fresh. I mean, they have a unique, fresh idea that is unique to them. I love that. It's great.
Dude, and like I'm a deathmatch fan from back in the day. But
yeah? You like your old FWA stuff?
Dude, that's a CZW title right there. So
yes, the good old Cages of Death. I remember the tournaments of death and the Cages of Death and good old what was his name? Zandig and Wife Beater. Signic Mondo.
Dude, you know what? Signic Mondo works for AEW.
Does he now? Well, that makes sense. There's a lot of old hardcore guys that are like involved now, right?
He's a director for AEW because John Moxley, when he left WWE, filmed like this 5-minute video of like breaking out of a prison.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, he directed all of that.
Ah, cool.
I just watched. He did a documentary on himself called The Trade, where he was talking about like his upbringing, what he got into deathmatch wrestling and why other people got into it. And it was like so more in depth because he was saying like as a teenager, like he just was like, doing the jackass type stuff, like just putting his body through punishment and stuff like that. And then started doing like the deathmatch wrestling as he got a little bit older and was like, that was the thing was because I had guilt problems. It's like, fuck, man. Like, but yeah, he was one of the greats to do it. And he's like iconic to, you type in CZW to YouTube and he's one of the first people you see.
Yeah.
But yeah, this documentary, I definitely recommend it because it's like really fucking well done. And it's really amazing.
Yeah.
So
whole wild world of the hardcore side of it out there. I mean, who knows how crazy Jess and Charlie Evans will get. maybe we'll get hardcore. What do you think about sorry to change the subject, but speaking of hardcore stuff, what do you think about what AEW is about to do with Omega and Moxley?
I think it's look, I think it's going to be it's pretty big stipulations. I just think it's going to be gimmicked way up where I hope it's not like their lights out match where, they had gimmicked glass, like sugar glass. They had, you know what I mean? Like they were using things like barbed wire and scraping it across someone's back and then no marks or no bleeding. And it's not realistic. You know what I mean? Like, I just think if they're going to do it properly, like, and safely, But
I like
I'm
that, Piers.
surprised.
You're a real sadist. If you're gonna stab him, stab him. Like, really get in
No,
there
but
and
no,
twist
but
the
like
knife.
that, but that's the thing. Like, you know, with that sort of style of wrestling, that if they're trying to appease to those hardcore deathmatch fans, you know, fans will shit on it if it's anything, you know, like basic. I don't want to say like they need to go. I don't think either man needs to go in and do this sort of match, to be honest.
I think that's where we align. I think they're both great, but why? Like, you could be great without all that stuff. But hey, go for it. Like, if that's how they're going to get the ratings, and that's what they want to do, then I'll be watching. I'll tell you that much. So it's a good idea.
But let me know this, right? If you're a billionaire, right? You run AEW, and your two biggest cash cows want to do something so ridiculously stupid, which it could either end their careers, someone could die, whatever it could be. Are you going to put that revenue streamer, that person who's making you so much money, at risk of being on the shelf where they will not be able to make you money? That's where, like, as far as the performers could sit there and say, yeah, I want to do this death match. Like, Moxley loves that shit, right? That's the whole reason he wanted to get released, to leave WWE, is to do more of this sort of shit. But, you know, as a promoter, as the people putting this on, I think they need to sit there and go, yeah, I think that maybe a steel cage match, bro. You know what I mean? Or a barbed wire, a baseball bat, like, you know. But like I said, they're going to do the explosion in thing, and like that, I'm sure that's going to be, like I said, that's always a massive gimmick thing. So
yeah,
you know,
if I was a billionaire, well, I mean, it's all about the context, really, because there might be stuff we'll learn in hindsight about this. Like, this could be John Moxley saying, I just had a kid. I want to be a dad for a while. I'm going to take a break, extended leave. I want to go out with a big blowout match. Puts over Kenny, and it's a big enough, crazy enough concept that you could write John Moxley out of the story for 6 months. Suddenly you go, oh, that all makes sense, right? Or you go, oh, we have this spot designed that we want to do this big explosion thing, and then you build backwards from there and say, oh, the most common sense would be John Moxley. Da, da, da. Or you might be right. It just might be John Moxley being John Moxley and just being crazy. Yeah. I want to do everything. The other thing I would think about as a billionaire running a wrestling company is, what can we do that WWE can't? And they're doing plenty of that right now, like the Shaq match and all these kind of things. They're doing the stuff that WWE aren't doing, and I think that's smart business because you're trying to find that gap in the market. But will it work? I don't know. Will it be interesting? Definitely. Could it write off Moxley for a while? Possibly. That's my theory, anyways.
My thing with AEW is Tony Khan should never have been in front of the camera and started being put on thing, you know, doing promos and stuff like that, because now all he's looking at is a spoiled little rich kid who's now able to live out his dream as being a bad guy wrestler, you know, on weekly television. And that's the way it comes across, you know, like even, you know, him tweeting being made Booker of the Year.
Like, what does that mean?
Dude, that I put out a meme the other day with Vince McMahon holding two Slammies, saying that's like, you know, Vince being, you know, given Slammy the award for Booker of the Year. You know what I mean? Like,
it's strange. Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree with you. He could have probably benefited from more mystique. Like, I think he kind of just came out and was like, "Hi, I'm Tony Khan," and I was like, "Oh, okay, there he is." Like, he should have come out in like a Daft Punk helmet. That'd be cool. It's like, under there is the great Tony Khan, like with the Wizard of Oz.
But you know what? Like, even then, like in saying that, like, you know, the Jacksonville Jaguars have been the one team in the NFL where people were just trying to get out of their contracts because of how fucking ridiculous that they are. You know, from what I heard, but also, like, you know, when they had that Matt Hardy issue where he fell and cracked his head, and they continued that match. You know, again, that's a situation where, like, a company needs to step in, look at their performer and go, as a performer, they're not going to sit there and, you know, I don't know any performer will sit there and go, okay, you know, I got hit in the head. Okay, I'm going to keep going, or I'm hurt, but I'll keep going. And that's that old school mentality. But I think in this day and age, the promotion and the powers that be need to be the ones to step in and save these people from themselves at times.
100%, and I'll tell you right now, if that happened at a PWA show, it wouldn't have continued. It would have been stopped on the spot. It is something that is regularly said at every show. That if something like that happens, we stop. I don't care if it's the main event and we're live on Fight TV. We stop if there's a concussion, because that's the common sense thing to do. And whether people like to hear it or not, the longevity of everyone being able to perform is the most important thing. And you can pick yourself up and do the next show and stuff like that, but the show must go on does not always apply anymore, because we've learnt more about what injuries, especially to the head, can do to people. Like, you watch some old sports footage and you're like, how did we ever allow that to be a sport? But that's the world how it was back then.
Dude, 100%. And it's, a lot of it now is, people know the damage of concussions and stuff like that, from football players to NFL players to professional wrestlers to MMA fighters. The list goes long and long. Any type of impact you take to the head, and even being in a pro wrestling match, people have said it's like being in a small car crash, and you take like a match like the guys had in the main event,
which was more like a large car crash.
Bro, that was like, you know what I mean, dude? Like, I was sitting there going like, dude, like, I was like flipping out, dude. Like, near one of the last spots where Paris did the flip off the ladder onto the ground, like, all I saw was him like going head first. I was like, oh shit,
dude. The most terrifying thing about the factory is that I don't know if it comes across on Fight TV, but there's a small step all the way around the ring, about this high, and it juts out about a meter from the ring. It's such a small thing, but it's right in dive zone. And Warburg cracked his back on it, and someone else, to Silva.
Don Marnell.
Yeah, Don hit it. Yeah. Oh, it's so nice. It's the tiniest little step, and it's ruining everything.
Don Marnell, he had a nasty fall, man. Like, I'm like, oh fuck. But not a fan.
Look, I wasn't a believer in MMA when it first started. I was like, who's this guy? I don't get it. But he's proved me wrong. Like, Sam Osborne is a bona fide, like, he's another person in that conversation, like you were having before. Like, Sam Osborne has every single aspect to be an absolute superstar in PWA, and he's on his way. So, as an analyst of the industry, MMA is a successful enterprise so far with Sam Osborne. I mean, what a hell of a start. He picked his prize bull pretty well.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Like, Sam Osborne is another one of those performers that is just like
insane
on another level. Just absolute other level, and 100% one of the nicest guys in pro wrestling as well. Like, just absolute nicest guy in the world. And
it's disgusting. He's everything I'm not. It's just so
you just sit there and it's like that outrageous jaw. Damn it!
Oh, you're healthy and you're handsome and you're lovely. Get out of my face! You disgust me. It's like holding up a mirror to everything I should be. Yeah, no, he's lovely,
dude. Yeah, no, it's exactly right, man. But it's, I think that there's so much talent happening now in Australian wrestling, and I'm glad to start seeing like the interstate borders opening up.
Yes.
Like Charlie Evans has made her way up to Melbourne for Deathmatch Down Under tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'm sorry to put them over, man, but they're so good what they've been able to do. Like, I've been impressed by their shows.
I think Moretti was in Melbourne last weekend as well. He was able to go do some shows in Melbourne and got called out by Brooksy, I think. So that's interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he's out and about. And I think Steph's been out and about as well. Yeah, like, and that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about, because obviously opening up the borders helped UGG be able to come and defend his title, but we've got a Rumble, baby. We got a 30-person Rumble on this show as well. We got title match, a grudge match. We got a tag match. We haven't even talked about Aussie Open versus the Nations, which could break the internet. It could be insane. But the Rumble, like, think of the talent that would be think of how many people would be scrambling to get across the border and get in that Rumble right now. Like, it's top secret, but I have a feeling there'll be some interesting names.
Dude, I'm really hoping to see someone like Royce Chambers come down, because I think he would be amazing.
He was great, and he was announced for Coliseum before we had to stop it down. So, I mean, he's due some time in PWA.
Yeah, man. I couldn't believe how young he was either, man. Like, he's just like so good, man. Like,
scary, right?
Yeah, dude. It's like, fuck.
Yeah,
That's just
I'm so
ridiculous,
old
you know. But
and untalented.
dude, I'm the same age as you, man. Don't say you're old.
Rose for the Rumble. Adam, I will not be getting in the Rumble. That's not a bad idea, though.
There you go. Like, you know, I can sit there now, like you training doing the Rocky montage.
All I would do is just, oh man, that'd be the funniest montage. Me just like jogging. It'd be me jogging to catch up to the ice cream man to order an ice cream.
Doing sit-ups and like leaning forward and like taking a bite out of a hot dog or something like that.
No, I'm just being arrested. My hands are actually cut behind my back. That would be a hell of a montage. Maybe I think if I did enter the Rumble, I'd do is just cower behind Moretti the whole time. But he's really hard to keep up with. So then I grab Fudge, and he's like half my size. So it wouldn't work, guys. I'm struggling enough to be able to. I'll say this: everyone have sympathy for me and be patient with me on Fight TV when this show comes up, because like I'm gonna cry during Ricky and Ugg. I know it. It's gonna be so emotional. Jess and Chevs are going to do some crazy shit. So is the tag match. But the Rumble is the hardest thing I've ever had to call. Like, it is non-stop for an hour and a half. I don't think people realize how important a break is in between matches, even just at entrance where I can catch my breath for 5 seconds. The Rumble is wild. And I'm a little nervous about losing my voice live on Fight TV.
You'll be fine, man. You've done it for a while, man. You can do it. If not, you know, I'm sure. You know, Chris has always never been short for a word, anyway. So.
Oh yeah, he'll love it. He'll love a little chat. And oh my god, it'll be nice to last show we did the Academy show last week, and we had to sit with Wahlberg. He just made fun of me for 3 hours, and Chris agreed with him the whole time. Did you see the photo? Did you see that?
Yeah.
Maddie and Chris hugging, and I'm not. I didn't even know there's a photo happening. I'm over here looking away. It was like when he punched me in the face on radio, and the photo of us afterwards is me in the studio and them outside the studio with a glass wall like separating us. It's ridiculous. That man is ridiculous.
You know what? I felt for you, man. It was like
Thank you.
Like, you know, you were like the sad kitten, bro. Yeah, just sit there like. I was like,
it just infuriates me, and I know Chris is doing it because he knows it annoys me. He doesn't like Maddie that much. He knows it annoys me. Hey, it's him. It's always Chris. Hey, let's get a photo. And pulls back. Like it's Chris. Chris is doing this.
he commented on the promotional thing, and he's like. Said so. He's like, oh yes, this will be great. You know, he's a great young inspiration, or something like that. And I said, oh, I heard. He actually said, I heard Andy Rose say on a previous interview, Chris, that you're the one who inspires him the most. And he's like, well, that's very humbling. I look for inspiration through Matty Wahlberg.
Chris inspires me to jump off a cliff. It's a love-hate relationship, but Chris and Wahlberg really, really bond. But it was a great thing to be able to do, actually. Truth be told, even though I got made fun of the whole time. But I'm a tough boy. I can take it.
Well, you know what? You need to get someone on your side next time, bro. Like, then it's like,
Moretti's my boy, but he can't pin him down. I go, hey, Moretti, do you want to do commentary? And he's already gone, like climbing up a wall and diving on 10 people. It's just kind of, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like having a puppy as a mate. You can't pin him down to do anything. And what am I going to do? Ask Fudge to do it? He's off screaming at someone backstage trying to fight them. He's just a psychopath. So I'm all alone out there. But I got the viewers. They're very supportive. They've been actually really gentle with us. So it's been good.
You know what, like the last show being in that venue, because I'd only been to the Academy shows, and I'm like, fuck, man, like this is like on another level, right? And it was like how loud that place got as well. And you know, like I said, that main event between MK Ultra and the Velocities, bro. That was like burnt the fucking house down, dude.
Yeah,
that roof was like that blew the roof.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things that maybe a lot of the Fight TV viewers have learned early in our relationship with them is we have a dangerous tag league. Like if you watch the first show, it was the main event ladder match, and also you had Aussie Open going up against Warburg and Ricky South. Like, and then you watch how well Jordan and Belinda Pierce work together as SMS at the Academy show. They're crazy. Their chemistry is insane as well. You got back pain rolling through people, and then we've got the nations about to face Aussie Open as well. Like MK Ultra, all those guys, it is stacked, and we're making a real statement about tag team wrestling, I feel. And hello, Joshua Tattersall, who says, "Hey, bro, see, people being nice. I should come on this show more because people are nice to me on your show, Piers."
Of course, man. Like my audience is, we're nice people, bro. Like we don't want to upset anyone, you know. So in saying that, I've actually got Chris Gale and Matty Wahlberg. I'm about to bring him in right now. No, I'm kidding.
No!
I'm kidding.
Oh, screwed the crap
Come
out
on.
of it there. It's a Friday night. I don't want to deal with those two buffheads.
I wouldn't play you like that, bro. You know.
I thought this was legit for a second, and Chris is just you're gonna hear Chris going, "Hey, Rose," my night's ruined.
Oh man, Kyle reckons back pain is one great tag team, and I have to agree, man. They're on fire, dude. Both
I
guys.
think they're huge in their momentum and their size. Like they're one of the teams that when you watch an Academy show, we get to sit quite close to the ring, and you can feel their momentum when they walk to a ring and when they beat a team. You're just like, yeah. They're going to be a big name in this industry one day, and I don't think anyone denies that. I think when you ask someone like Unsocial Jordan, he changes the subject very quickly. He moves on very quickly because I think everyone knows that back pain are just the moment they get their heads and get focused, like they're growing as a team. They're just going to be unstoppable.
Oh,
the Velocity
100%.
should be nervous.
Dude, the Velocity's heading to Melbourne, bro. Versus the Rat Pack.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, how fucking good is that going to be, dude? Like,
well, like just for everyone else as well, the MCWs of the world, EPWs, shout out Perth, all that stuff. Like, this time away has been able to let us build to these big showdowns, and that's just. There's a couple of matches on that card that I'm like, wow, that's great. I'm really excited to see them back and doing shows because it just breeds that competition. It breeds that growth of all the companies. I love it.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. And, definitely seeing, those sort of guys, man. I love the new addition to them, the Gym Bro.
Oh, yes. Wild? Kelly Wild? Is it?
Yeah, I think it's Kelly Wild.
I only met her briefly, but boy, is she an entity. My goodness. She just tranced through that room and was like, I run shit now. Like, I love her. She's great. She just made a real statement, and Back Bay just went, she runs shit now. And it just they found a symbiotic relationship, and I think for the first time, Back Pain feel like they can kind of be themselves instead of like we need to fit a certain – because I think some people come into PWA and see what they've seen and go, we need to do something that fits in with that. But once they find their own voice and their own – suddenly they're calling everyone simps, and they're just – it's great. Chris is a simp. I don't know what it is, but I'm pretty sure he is one.
But that's the thing with them. Like, you see two big dudes in the automatically you think big tag team killers, and to let them have a little bit of a sense of humor. And like that video that they put out, like when I first watched it, I was like, what are they doing? No, they should be killers. They should be. And then I went, no, I'll watch it again. I was like, no, what they're doing is good because now they're doing another side of their character, and they're doing something different, which is against the grain of what everyone expects two big dudes as a tag team to be.
And I think more than some other companies as well, there's a lot of PWA that is inherently fun. And I think the PWA locker room and the atmosphere there brings out the fun in a lot of people, and you see that that like even guys like Back Pain who are lean, mean, ass-kicking machines can still come to the ring and have some fun. And I like that about that. Like even someone like Jack J. Bonzo, who's just been such a stoic character for so long, is now being led around as member of the Bad Bitch Nation with Kingsley. And I just think that's so fun for someone who's so serious to be forced into a fun environment. Will actually help, help him grow, I think, out of it. So
I mean, it shows different aspects to performers, and I think you know, if the performer's open to doing it, it can be really, really good, and it can definitely, you know, give something different and a different aspect of it. It's the same as, like, you know, you look at something like when Kurt Angle started doing the comedy thing with Stone Cold Steve Austin. It wasn't they became jokes, it was became, okay, that was pretty funny. They entertained us on a different level, both bad motherfuckers still. Like,
Yeah. Is it Leslie Nielsen? Was he the guy in the Naked Gun movies?
yes, yes.
He's a great example of someone who did his whole career as serious stage actor and all this serious stuff. And then in his, 60s, late
Yeah.
50s, early 60s, he did a Naked Gun movie and everyone went, or was Flying High, I think was the first one. And everyone's like, this guy's hilarious. And they built a whole comedy series around him. So I think, you know, there's so much, people that think they can't grow and evolve because of their age are just insane. Like, there's so much you could do.
Dude, it's, you know what? It's funny, man. And I look at someone like Chris Jericho, who, you know, he's been someone I consider like the Dave Grohl of professional wrestling, because he's been fucking cool for 30 years. You know what I mean? Like you can't deny that, you know, and he's someone who has been able to evolve with the business and with the times and do it in such a transitional way. You know, like, I think, who else can say that they've done that? The Undertaker? Yeah, okay. Like, you know, it's always been very much similar, the same character, but it's been different variations of it, where I think Chris Jericho has really changed look, style, body shape, and all these different things of a performer.
I wonder, who do you think comes close to him? Because I think you're right that he's probably the talent that's evolved the most amount of times successfully. I mean, Bray Wyatt's like early in his career and he has the potential. I mean, Mick Foley was a great one. He had so many different aspects of the characters and stuff like that. So I guess Foley would be the only one I can think of that comes close to Jericho for like evolution of character, I guess.
Yeah, I think as well. But I think it's like when the world got to know him as Mick Foley, that's what made him who he, you know what I mean? Like, that lovable character. Like, it was him as a person as opposed to like the wrestler. Because when you started seeing the different aspects of, you know, his life behind the screen, and when he's been in documentaries like, you know, Beyond the Mat, and which was, you know, 20 plus years ago. But still, it's like it gives that insight to the person's life as opposed to just what you see on camera.
Adam makes a good suggestion here, maybe Shawn Michaels. I considered Shawn Michaels, but the interesting thing about him was that was more of a core life change, wasn't it? That wasn't necessarily a character change. He changed the person.
He was just, the character stayed the same. Like, the character stayed the same. Kurt Angle, same thing. You know, phenomenal. You know, showed different aspects of his character, but I think that, you know, the gimmick was always the same with Kurt Angle. You know what I mean? You couldn't have him then being the fucking boogeyman, you know?
And just like the Dave Grohl, which is a good example, Chris Jericho can have his moments as just like Dave Grohl does, of kind of being a corny dad as well. Yeah. Like, even though you're eternally cool, every now and then Dave Grohl will come out at the Tokyo Dome with crow makeup on and a hat, and you kind of go, "Oh, Dad, you look lame." Like, you know,
dude, I got sent. I got to show you this. I got sent today, and I'm a Jericho fan, but this meme that I saw, I'll say, where is it? I got to find this for you. Here you go. It's a photo of Jericho, like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it reads, Chris Jericho out here looking like your recently divorced aged alcoholic aunt who just took a pre-bowling alley night selfie before heading out to meet her Tinder date named Chuck.
Yeah. It is kind of life imitating art, isn't it? Because he kind of plays that David Lee Roth, out of control rock star frontman, and I think he kind of does look like an out of control rock star frontman now, and I respect the method acting it takes to be that.
Dude, I think it's absolutely great, dude. If I could have hair like that, bro, and walk around dressed like that, why the fuck would, like, you're Chris Jericho? Like, that's the thing you just heard I say is like,
If I was Chris Jericho, I'd wear a scarf too. You're right, I would. I just can't pull it off with my body.
What do you think of Big Show going over to AEW?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I was never a huge Big Show guy, but I respect the difficulty of a big man. I know how difficult it is to be a successful big man. You always need other people to kind of work off you. So I thought he did a great job very young in his career. I thought he was really impressive when he first started. Like, you go back and watch that old WCW stuff, and he came out of the gates strong. But his role, yeah, they did, and as the world should, because they had a young giant there. Like, they had the future of the big man industry. But as your career goes on, your role becomes different, and it becomes incredibly harder for a big man to continue at the capacity or the pace that they were at their prime. And I think of all the interviews I've seen of Paul White, it seems like he's a very straight down the line. There's business and there's personal, and he'll be honest with you about the personal, but he'll always be very honest about the business. And I think in this situation, AEW just offered him more money, and he took it. And I'm glad to see him doing some commentary stuff, because I'm interested to see him do commentary. Maybe I can learn a thing or two, and getting a paycheck, because you got to make that money.
The only thing I was a bit like, hey, going on was like the T-shirt, no more BS. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, for like what, like you're just trying to drum up. I don't know if it's like to try and drum up that sort of like old school wrestling, WCW versus WWF from the 90s type shit. But like, I just see it as like good marketing, but why?
We're 2 weeks away from someone wearing a T-shirt that's like someone dropping a WWE title into a garbage bin, like on the front of it. That'd be cool. That'd be very meta if someone wore that while doing a spit. Yeah, it is. It is kind of, like the life imitating art, imitating life. Like, I get a lot of PTSD right now about the wars that are going on in wrestling, because I'm like, I swear I've been through this before. I swear this is deja vu. I swear I've been, and I hope it doesn't end the same way, because I loved the wars, and if we get more competition, that's great. I hope it doesn't end with one company buying the other. I hope we just can keep it going. But it is weird, isn't it? It feels like I've been here before. This feels familiar.
Yeah, dude. Like, it's almost like, I've seen a meme of like Sting and Big Show in WCW back in the day with the AEW logo on it, saying AEW Nitro. Like, it's just, like I said, it's, it just almost like they're seeming they want to be like they want to be WCW, like they're bringing in these bigger names. Yeah, but again, hopefully they don't bring Show into wrestle. I'm all for it.
I think we'll see it at some point, just like we'll see Sting at some point. I think it's inevitable, but that's whatever. If he feels like he can still go, then great. But I think the reason we feel so WCW about some of this stuff is because you're always going to get that if you go up against WWE. Like, it's you'll always get the XFL example if you build a sporting league that goes up against the NFL. It's just the way it is when there's a major league involved. So I want to see success, but I also don't want to see them have to rely on exploding barbed wire matches every month to be able to try and compete. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that the fan base for that as well is like, it's not going to be sitting there, and AEW's fan base is not a CZW, game changer wrestling fan base. You know what I mean? So, like, to see that every month, like, do you want to appeal to kids and like sell merchandise and being able to still put on professional wrestling? But, if you're a parent and your kid wants to go see an AEW match and you see a no rope barbed wire exploding death match, are you going to let your 8-year-old kid or your 5-year-old kid watch that?
How old are your kids, Piers?
4 and 2.
How old are they going to be when you allow them to watch wrestling?
I try to let them watch wrestling, and they're not into it.
Right. Okay. So you'd be fine with them watching it now at this age? Certain things, yeah. Like, as long as, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want, I wouldn't be sitting there letting him watch, Terry Funk versus Onita. Or like, the 1995 King of the Deathmatch. I'm not going to. Look at that little Jimmy. The ring is floating on water because it's going to explode in 5 minutes. Are you excited?
Yeah. No, like it's funny because like I wanted to take my son to a wrestling show, and I like because he's 4. I'm like, hey man, do you want to go? You have to stay up late. You come with daddy, and you see a wrestling show, and he's like, nope. And then my daughter, who's 2, she's like, I want to go. Well, I'll have a crack.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I think if they were my kids, yeah, I'd just show them straight away. But the reason I ask is because I have a niece and nephew, 2 little twins, Maddie and Charlotte, boy and a girl, both redheads, keeping the dream alive. And I've always, yes, we're successfully keeping the daywalkers a thing. No, not a soul among us. So my thing was always, I don't want to show Maddie wrestling too early, or I become the punching bag at every family gathering. Like he's seen it on TV, time to beat up Uncle Rose. But I feel like teenage years now, if it's not my kid, I can show him. He's like hitting 13 now. So maybe I feel like when they get to teens, you can show someone else's kid wrestling. It's different when it's not your own kid.
Well, dude, I took like my cousin came to a IWA show with me, and he was like, he brought his son who's like 13, like going on 14, and like like my mate don't watch wrestling. And on the card, there was Matty Wahlberg, Cowboy Chris Abbott, Tree Hug or Lyrebird Lucci, but Tree Hugger Lucci, Charlie Evans, like Jude the Dude London was on the card, a heap of guys. And my cousin's kid was like saying, before the show, like, doing the Joe Rogan joke about pro wrestling. And I said to him, I'm like, dude, I'm going to introduce you to this guy over there called Big Rig, Headhunter Rig, and you can tell him your little bit that you do about Joe Rogan, and like you've seen Rig and just like shit the bed.
Yep.
But like I got a call like the next day from my cousin going, yo man, like me and my kid are hooked. Like when's the next show? I've sent him stuff on PWA, and he's really wanting to come to a PWA show.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're excited that the next one's sold out, and hopefully, Hopefully, we'll have Max Watts in our future soon. I mean, the world's starting to work its way back, and we'd like to go back to our hallowed grounds sooner rather than later.
Mate, 100%. Yeah. And it's definitely coming up. But, guys, I think it is that time to call it a night. We have hit that 1 hour mark. Rose, thank you so much for being my guest tonight, my friend. It's always good to catch up with you, talk a bit of wrestling and just, general chit chat and bullshit as we do when we see each other, man. So thank you for making this happen.
Mate, it's my pleasure. I love you. And I'm glad to always come on and talk wrestling with you. And March 12th, Fight TV, PWA does our next big show. It started with a kiss. It's going to be massive. And I'm going to try not to pass out Rumble. So I give you a no pass out guarantee.
That's it. Again, thank you very much, Rose. Thank you for everyone tuning in. Also want to say a special thank you to Heel Turn Wrestling, where we're streaming tonight as one of our platforms. Check out all of their amazing content they have on that page. And guys, stay tuned. We got some big names coming up in future episodes. And guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time. Peace.